Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the latest edition of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast. I'm your host, Jacob Elyachar, Chief Content Producer and writer of jakestake.com, a pop culture entertainment news website. Now, before we get to my interview today, if you're listening to this podcast, please give us a 5-star review and also please subscribe. The more the merrier, and make the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Army grow. I appreciate it. All right, my latest guest is a producer and music producer and DJ. As of this recording, he has over 18,000 Facebook followers and nearly 48,000 Instagram followers. And he has over 247,000 monthly listeners on Spotify. And he's the founder of Purpose Driven Records. So please help me welcome Brendan B. Martin to the podcast.
What's up, Jake? Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
You're so welcome, Brandon. Thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to speak with me today. I really appreciate it.
It's my pleasure. I'm enjoying the conversation already.
Awesome. I'm glad to hear it. So let's get to it. So when did you get interested in music, and how did that passion evolve into desire to pursue a career in the recording industry?
Let's see. Music was always in the house growing up. We played piano. We had a piano there. My dad would play records, Billy Joel, Eagles. So it was always kind of in me. My brother would play pop records, stuff from Backstreet Boy, 98 Degrees. We listened to all the way to like Eminem and Jay-Z, mostly hip hop, but we listened to pop stuff on our own too. And then we had a friend, Danny Matlin, in my hometown, and he'd always rap. He's really good at freestyle rapping, which basically means you think of stuff as you go. Maybe you point out someone's shoes or shirt, or you talk about people in the crowd. And he was really good at that. And it's like kind of an entertaining thing. So that kind of got me into it and excited about it. And then I just started writing here and there. And more so in high school is where I started actually recording. And I was recording at a friend's house. He had a recording studio in his basement, really nice. And one day I went to his house and the studio looked completely different. And I was really confused. And as I started looking deeper, I realized I'm in the wrong house, but there's a recording studio here in the house next door. So I ran out of the house, but the guy caught me on the way out. He's like, "Can I help you?" I'm like, "Dude, I'm so sorry. I'm supposed to be next door." And he's like, "It's okay. My name's Jason. Pleasure to meet you." And I end up recording with that guy all through high school and through college. It was kind of serendipitous in that way. And then I had an internship in college. I knew I'd be a financial advisor. I knew what I was meant to be. And I somehow missed a compliance meeting, and I couldn't continue with the internship because I missed one meeting. And it was like this big thing that everyone flew in for. And I'm riding my bike around town, in college on the summer off. And I see a kid that I waited tables with at a restaurant. He brings me to a new recording studio, and that kind of re-sparked the flame and had me take it way more serious. With them, I started opening for acts like Joel Santana, Fabulous, Wu-Tang, put out videos, went viral online, started opening for Mac Miller, toured with Mac Miller, and then the rest was kind of history from there. Got some accolades like Best Hip Hop Artist in New York, and did Summer Jam and whatnot, and South by Southwest, and it's just been a really great, wild ride and a beautiful experience. Thanks for asking.
You're so welcome. So who are your music industry role models, and how do they influence your sound?
There's a guy named Pooh Bear who writes for Justin Bieber, who kind of got me, interested in like he's more of a writer, but he's taking on a producer role. Or the term producer in film is very different than music. In music, it means you made the beat. You did the drums and the bass line and, put the things together musically. Then there's a songwriter who wrote the lyrics. And I guess technically you could say the people who made the chords are also the songwriter. But my point is, producer to me feels more like you brought the writer in, you brought the producer in, you kind of put the pieces together, you oversaw the process, you're producing it, kind of like in a film where you produce it, you find the locations, you negotiate all that. So what I like about Pooh Bear is he's mainly a songwriter, but he was one of the first songwriters who put his name on projects. Whereas, a lot of producers right now and DJs are putting their names on projects. Calvin Harris will make the beat, feature Rihanna, and it's Calvin Harris featuring Rihanna because he made the beat. So he was one of the first ones to do that with songwriting. And it kind of got me thinking like, I should be able to have my name on it if I'm writing it, finding the vocalists, mixing the vocals, linking the producer with the vocalist, like that should be something that I do too. And not from a place of like greed, but just of a place of fairness and credit. We're all working on the song. We should all have our name on the song, especially if people who aren't singing on the song are on there anyway. Let's all put our name on the song. So that's somebody who inspired me, I guess you could say, as a role model in a way.
Awesome. And I definitely said I love songwriters and producers. Like if I had my choice, my top three of all time, legendary Brendan, Diane Warren, Desmond Child, and Max Martin.
Wonderful choices. Diane Warren's such a legend, and Max Martin, man, I think he's like unbeatable with his hits, and he's left behind a legacy of producers and writers underneath him that have just gone on to do extraordinary things. And it's pretty inspiring to watch him for sure.
I would love to. I interviewed Desmond. It was one of my highlights of my career. But to interview Diane Warren and Max Martin would be holy smokes.
Well, if I ever meet them, unfortunately I haven't, I'll make sure to put in a good word for you. As long as you put in a good word for me with the other one.
Absolutely. So I know you talked about spending time with Mac Miller and sharing the stage with him, but you also had the opportunity to share the stage with J. Cole and Kendrick Lamar. So what were some of the lessons that you learned from them that helped you grow as a professional in the music industry?
Let me think. Well, J. Cole, I remember he gave me a shout out once, and we were at SUNY Albany, and the shout out didn't necessarily go the way that I wanted it to. Like, he kind of seemed unenthused, and I think he like missaid my name or something. And I was like, yo, can you do it again? And he kind of had to go, he's a busy guy. So I guess like if you get the opportunity to talk to somebody like that, one lesson I would say is be prepared, know what you want to say, and make sure that it's clear, concise. And that way there's a great opportunity that you can capitalize on and value exchange, and everyone feels good about it. So that's just like one small lesson. Seeing J. Cole perform, God, he's one of the best performers I've ever seen for sure, the way he commands an audience. So him and Mac Miller certainly inspired me to take my performance and crowd engagement to the next level. Kendrick Lamar, I did only one show with him. So I can't think of a lesson with that, because that was Summer Jam, but we had the outside stage because we were all kind of coming up at the same time. So there was only like maybe 500 people there. So it was kind of quick sets for everybody. And I guess I didn't, see a ton to be able to learn from there, but he's amazing. His lyricism is always incredible. He's somebody I will actually go in and study his lyrics, because they're so descriptive. They're pulling from his real life experience. It's pretty powerful to see somebody like writing from a very layered and deep experience like his in Compton, growing up kind of in that difficult lifestyle, you could say.
And it's amazing that he went from Summer Jam to Super Bowl.
That he went from Summer Jam to Super Bowl?
Yeah, for performing with Diddy and Mary J. Blige.
Yeah, he's phenomenal.
Why am I say Diddy? I meant Dr. Dre and Snoop
Dre,
Dogg.
yes, Dre, yeah. God, an Eminem, right?
What a Super Bowl!
Oh God, that was like the best part of it. Even though the Super Bowl itself was wonderful too.
I totally agree, and I definitely think that of one of the best generations rappers is definitely Kendrick. Damn was one of my all-time favorite albums of the 2010s.
So good. Yeah, he, like I said, he's someone I'll literally just like pull up his lyrics before I listen to the song and just kind of read it. It's like poetry, and it's so descriptive and detailed, and there's so many layers of rhymes. He really is one of the greatest lyricists for sure of all time.
Awesome. So let's get back to you, Brendan,
okay,
because we're here not talking about Kendrick, we're talking about you.
That's true. Mm-hmm.
All right. So what have been some of the challenges that you faced breaking into the music industry, and how did you overcome those obstacles?
Challenges that I faced. It's been a lot. Well, I was stuck in a record deal for a long time where I couldn't release music. And part of the excitement about making music is the fact that you're able to share it with the world. So I had an 8-year period where I wasn't really able to share music with the world. And so one of
Wow.
the challenges that I had, and this can be extrapolated or applied to artists who just aren't ready to release their material yet, or, for whatever reason aren't releasing. How do you go about staying motivated when you don't have, you know, people to share it with, and that feedback loop and that excitement of getting, the part of making a podcast is releasing it, right, Jake?
Oh
you
yeah.
know that's exciting. It's like, oh, my content's out, it's up, I'm done, there's completion. So I think when I was in the deal, I had to find creative ways to do it, and the way that I did it, and I'm still applying that method now being out of the record deal, is working with producers. They could be in Europe, some I'm working with in Spain, some I'm working with in Canada, some I'm working with in Germany, others are in New York, others are here in LA. Most I've never met in person. But the feedback loop of being able to work with other artists or bringing in vocalists into the studio, cutting a record on them. And I know that once I get this done, I get to send it to them. So I think I was kind of in my own bubble for a long time, working with myself, finding beats online that were great, and or making my own beats and creating material, but I didn't have any kind of feedback like, oh, change this, or oh, try this, or oh, I love this, and just to give me that excitement in the process of building up to the release. So I think it's just important to create little like things that make you feel positive incrementally on the way to achieving the final release, if that makes sense. Whether it's just getting a producer involved, sending him your vocals, hearing how excited he is, getting a mixer involved, getting people involved in your project so that you have a team. And it's the part of that value is just to feel the support of the team and the motivation and the direction of the team, and not only the logical value that it's intrinsic as well as well as extrinsic.
Awesome. I gotta say, you've created a lot of great beats and a lot of great songs. I went over to Spotify as I prepared for this interview and took out some songs and picked them out. So I would love to talk with you about them if you don't mind,
I'd love to.
and the stories behind them. So let's start off with Motive. It has over, as of this recording, 210,000 Spotify streams, and this song you did with D Love and Sam Smyers.
Yeah, Motive was one of those songs that I just started recording, and I heard I could see your motive, and I was like, oh, I think that works. And talking about, like, sometimes you get to a certain place in your life and the people treat certain people treat you differently, and of course you want to be open and kind to people, and give them an opportunity to change and an opportunity to treat you better. But at the same time, sometimes you can feel a certain way, like, shit, when I was at the bottom, you kind of like disregarded me and discarded me. And now that I'm actually getting to a place where, I'm doing better and I have value and things to offer, it's funny how you're paying way more attention to me. And I guess on one level it is logical. It's like, well, I have things to offer now. People want to spend time with me because there is value in that and whatnot. But there is also something like, yeah, but I had the same soul before. I had the same energy. I had the same vibe. Like, if that wasn't enough for you, now my things are enough for you. So motives is just kind of like, I can see your motive. Ever since I'm winning, you've been right by my side. You know what I mean? Like, oh, now you're communicative, that things are happening. So that kind of inspired the whole song. And yeah, Sam Smyers, the producer, was great in that process, because I'd send him a clip and he'd make little recommendations, and I sent him vocals, and he kind of went back and forth and was a little bit more involved on the songwriting process. Not like super duper involved where he's writing lyrics, but he'd be like, ooh, can you rewrite this line? Can you sing this different? Can you fix the tuning on this line? So he was detail oriented, and I appreciated that.
Awesome. So Long Nights Alone has over 100,000 Spotify streams, and it's from RDDL and JKLN.
Yeah, Jacqueline, I believe is how that'd be pronounced. So that one I wrote in 2015. I was working with a producer in my bedroom where my studio was at the time, and I wrote that on the spot. And a good friend of mine, Emma, in 2022, reached out to me, or it might have been 2021, actually. We started this one last year. She reached out to me and she asked if I had any top lines. A top line is just basically a lead vocal or a song that's written, right? Top line is like the singing on top. And I don't think they call it a bottom line, but the beat, the track is the track. And then the singing on top is the top line. So she asked if I had any. I sent her some options, and this one got picked up by RDDL, these DJs. They made a track around my old vocals, and then I took that and basically re-recorded the track over their new beat and added new parts, and that's kind of how that song came about. And we were lucky enough to sign that one to Future House Cloud, a great label out of, I believe, Germany. I'm not quite sure, but definitely out of Europe somewhere. And they're doing a really good job promoting it and getting it heard.
It's a great song, and so far, since as of this recording, 100,000 streams on Spotify.
Thank you. I think it just came out like 30 days ago or 31 days ago, so it's doing pretty good. And yeah, it's exciting to have this body of work out there, because I just made a post yesterday that 11 months ago I had no songs on Spotify. And I obviously had 0 streams and 0 monthly listeners. So what I did was, in the middle of my stretch routine, I literally stopped and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to call myself out and create a commitment to drop 1 song a month for the next 12 months. So I pulled up the camera, made a video. I said, hey, everybody, I'm dropping a song once a month for the next 12 months. And yeah, and just basically put that online, and it got a pretty good response. And I realized, shoot, now I'm accountable. I only had a few songs ready, and that kind of got me going. So it's just so great to see now that I think we have 16 songs out with 250,000 monthly listeners, and that's all happened in 11 months. And sometimes that's all it takes. And I'm sure you've seen it with your podcast too. It's just like set a date with someone. The interview happens, it goes well, you get it done, you put it up. And you grow from that, and you learn from that. Even if it doesn't take off, you gain connections, you gain resources, you gain knowledge, you gain growth, experience. You learn how to operate even when times are difficult. You sometimes are in a great mood, and you get to capitalize on that. And it's just a beautiful thing to kind of just set goals where there's accountability in play. Like, for instance, I want to go to the gym once a week. I'm just going to hire a personal trainer. Sure, it's expensive. It sucks to spend that money. But now I'm going to be in the gym once a week for the next 6 months or whatever it is. And then you start going once a week. You build a community. You start, getting your body looking better. It changes your health decisions. You might sleep better. And then maybe you start going more often. It's just that one decision to do one thing with accountability and investment changes your life. And I think it's a shortcut that I've used a lot to kind of just like get myself going when I've been dragging my feet.
Absolutely. And you were talking about progress. As of this recording, I just hit over 125 subscribers on my YouTube channel. And
Congrats.
also, thank you. And also a couple days ago, we just hit Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar Podcast at 5,000 total audio downloads.
That's beautiful, man. Congratulations. How long have you been doing it for?
Since February 2019. November 2019. November 2019.
That's not bad at all. That's just a year and a half, not even.
Yeah, we're slowly but surely growing. So we got to get back to the interview, and let's talk about Who Am I? It is close to 275,000 Spotify streams, and you teamed up for this track with the Bass Bears and New Beat Order.
Yeah, that one, they had sent me one song, one beat, and I recorded that, and that one's called Tricks that we released. And then after that one, they sent me another beat like about a week later, and I was just laying in bed when they sent it. And right after they sent it, I heard that my love for you was suicide, which is the hook. And so I sent them that hook right away, like literally 2 minutes after they sent it. They're like, holy shit, bro, you're so quick. They said they loved it. So the next day I got into the studio, recorded the whole thing. And that song, got signed pretty quickly. And yeah, it's exciting. And the label on that is Youth Energy, and they're doing a really great job behind that. Bass Bears, actually, his name's Javi, is like, I think the main DJ in Bass Bears. And he has introduced me to Satao and Senyao, who I've collaborated with a lot. Shout out to my boy Jordan there. He's just introduced me to a lot of great producers that I've been able to collaborate with and lend my vocals on their tracks. And that's really helped propel me in the EDM scene and also with my Spotify growth, because, you know, these EDM songs get a lot of streams when they get signed. So big shout out to Bass Bears for being kind of like an A&R manager in a way by creating all these opportunities for me. He's a great guy.
And you mentioned Seto and Senyo because they're right now coming up next. Difference, it is getting close to hitting 300,000 Spotify streams.
Yeah, that's a super exciting one. That one's probably one of my favorite songs. It's about losing somebody, and it's like, it's okay to lose somebody, but there are moments where you're feeling down and you're feeling like, man, that person would actually make a difference in my life right now. Like that, their love, their touch, their feel, their emotion, their energy would really make a difference. So, you know, loss is okay, moving on is okay, but sometimes you reflect and you think that would be nice. And so that's what that song is about. So I like it because it's sentimental. It has like a element of like that somewhat gentle and loving yet introspective. And it's kind of contrasted with, you know, upbeat dancey vibes. So that's one of my favorites. So definitely shout out to Satao and Senyo for producing that one. And also the label on that was SSL Music. So if any EDM producers are listening, I'm just dropping all the names right now for you guys to submit records to, because these guys do a great job. So my boy Mert at SSL Music did a wonderful job getting that playlisted, and he believed in it so much that he did a second round push on it, and is actually one of their biggest records of the year for SSL Music. So that was cool.
Congratulations on that milestone.
Thank you, man. Yeah, 300K will be great. I think that'll be my biggest one on my profile. Thanks for noticing that.
Awesome. So let's talk about your latest track. It was with VLLN, Villain, and Sol Navarro. It is Mr. Friday Night.
Yeah, this one's funny because I'm 33 years old. Not that that matters, but
I'm 33 myself, so.
Oh, cool. So you know how it is, bro. Maybe I don't go out. I don't party like that. I'm sober too. I don't drink or smoke. I quit that like 16 months ago. Not for any crazy, like not that it's crazy, but not because I was like super addictive or dependent on it, but it just wasn't serving me in my highest growth. I used it as ways to escape responsibility, and I'm like, you know what? I want to take as much responsibility as I can because that makes me feel best. So I just got rid of the things that allow me to escape responsibility. With that said, Mr. Friday Night is all about like how I sleep all day and I wake up at night on Mr. Friday Night. I need the vibrant lights. That's when my vibe is right. And really, you know, it's just not true. It's just a kind of character I get into. And a lot of these songs are just characters, right? Like Who Am I was about a girl I met who lost herself in a relationship and didn't know who she was anymore. My love for you was suicide. I lost my identity being with you. So Mr. Friday Night embodied that party vibe, that cool guy, that like, I need the night to come alive vibe. And the truth is, Jacob, if I'm being frank with you, I'm going to bed at like 10, 11 o'clock these days. And that's fine, you know, even on a Friday night. So I'm not truly Mr. Friday Night, but it's great to be able to get into all these different characters and enjoy that process, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. Before we leave about talking about songs, there's one more song I gotta throw at you because it involves someone we both know.
Oh.
I'm talking about Walking Dead and Palmer.
Oh, let's go. He's the man.
He is. Hi, Robert, if you're listening to this.
Yo, what's up? Yeah, he said it. Oh, so you want me to discuss that one a little bit?
Yeah.
So that one came about. I think a friend of mine, we were out to dinner and he was like, oh, he's on The Walking Dead. You guys should write a song about it. Like, oh, it's a good idea. I have a session next week with him. So we met up with this really talented producer, Eric Zane in Hollywood. It was me, Rob, and Eric. And that was kind of like the theme. We're like, maybe we should write a song about Walking Dead. I'm on the show. You know, why not maybe use that theme? So he was in a relationship at the time that, you know, was kind of on the fritz, and it was holding on by a thread. And being in that relationship, I think, made him feel like, you know, like he was maybe stringing her along a little bit, or, you know, it's easy to stay in a relationship. It's hard sometimes to let it go when it needs to be let go. Sometimes it's easier to just play pretend and fake it and let it kind of linger. And that kind of was the concept. Like if we continue down this, we're both going to be walking dead. So that was the concept that we pulled from, and you know, we embellished a little bit. All the songs kind of have to push the limits of reality in order to make it more exciting and fantasized and whatnot. So I'm not saying this is fully a true story, but we did pull it from something true, and we wrote it. And Eric Zane did such a good job of producing the whole record on the spot, playing the keys, playing different instruments, you know, and we had that whole thing done. And I think we ended up like having so much stuff on our plates that it took us a month to get back in the studio to record. But when we did, it was magic. And yeah, it's just been a really exciting process, and a new one too, because I was the main producer on most of his other records. So it was nice to bring in Eric on that one. And we also brought one other producer in, Tom Jacob, on Clean Cut. His friend Chris O also was a part of that. Chris also came in and helped tweak some of the vocals on Walking Dead as well. So it's been a pretty cool process.
Awesome. So let's talk about your dream collaborators. I know you have a group of singers, songwriters, producers that you want to work with. And how would, if you had the opportunity to work with them, how would they enhance your sound?
So are you saying like a specific vocalist, like a singer? Or
yeah, a singer, a band, songwriting, producers.
Yeah. I would say, I mean, Max Martin would be a dream. I think because I take on part of the role that Max Martin does with his artists. So to be able to play the role of the artist with him, not only would I get an incredible record, but I'd also get all that knowledge on how he interacts with the artist, how he handles hiccups, speed bumps, how he vocal produces, which is basically coaching the singer while they record, being able to see that process, how he takes a record from, you know, nothing to 100. I'd probably learn the most with him. So I might choose that. And then I'd probably say Eminem if it was just like a straight collab, because I think he would really motivate me to write the best shit that I ever had. You know, if it's Eminem you're collaborating with, you'd have to just do something crazy. And I always rise to that occasion, and I'm motivated by things like that. So it would pull out a part of me that I'd like to see more often.
And not to mention with Eminem, both great choices, by the way, but with Eminem, you have to bring up your 5A game.
I got to do something crazy. Yes. It's got to be prime cut, Kobe beef, A++ kind of game. But I think I could do it. I think I would write something competitive, you know, in that environment. So I think that's something that I've had a little bit of difficulty with in music, is finding, like getting around people who are like so above me and beyond me that I'm pulled up, you know. I want to work with more people who have way more experience than me and talent or different skill sets, and that's been a little bit of a challenge. But it's actually lately I've been working with people who are really motivating, inspiring to me, and taking me to that next level. So lately it's been coming to fruition. But that's something that's always worked for me, is like, oh, if I get around Eminem, like it just like I like almost like absorb the energy and can transform and transcend myself. So that's been a challenge. And I guess if an artist asks me, well, how do I get in front of the people who are going to transcend me to that next level? And I say, develop a skill set that they need. Maybe you do behind the scenes photos for them. Maybe you engineer for them. Maybe you are their assistant, you know, maybe instead of them being your mentor in music, you add value to them in a way that they need. and then that will put you in their circle. And just by being a fly on the wall, you'll grow tremendously, better than you could on your own in years and months with them. That I think that's worked with me, with artists who want to get in with me. And it's like, another way too is offer money. Sometimes these big producers still need money, or at least know how hard it is out there and are willing to work for a few $100 or a few $1,000. So sometimes you can play all of these games and try to convince people and try to get on people's good side and butter up and follow on Instagram and DM. But other times you just come like, hey, like, look, I don't have a ton of money, but it would be a fucking dream to work with you. Can you take $500 for a few hours to work with me? They might say, you know what? I like your motivation. You don't have to pay me shit. What are you doing next Monday? But people are always trying to kind of like snake their way in and sneak in and not add value. It's like, add value, because that person has worked so tremendously hard to get to where they are, that the value they can give you is beyond what you can give them. So just by that gesture acknowledges that value, and that'll separate you from the thousands of people who are just trying to get value without giving any. Does that make sense?
It does make sense, and that was one of the best pieces of advice we have received on this podcast in a long time.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that.
Alrighty, last question. Are you ready for it?
Yes, sir.
Where can my audience find your music and connect with you on social media?
Hey. So on Instagram, I'm B Martin Official, BMartin, and then the word official. On YouTube, it's just YouTube/B Martin. On Facebook, it's B Martin Official. And then on Spotify, it's B Martin as well. Yeah, I'm dropping about 2 to 3 songs a month right now. So there's steady, consistent content. There's 1 rap song per month. There's 2 to 3 EDM songs coming out per month. And on my Instagram, every Monday for the next 5 weeks, and I might keep it going, I'm dropping a little video of me rapping in a cool place on one of my songs. And actually a week from this Monday coming, from tomorrow, I'm dropping my Slaughterhouse official music video, and that's featuring my boy Binks, who's an incredible rapper. He is like up there with Eminem when it comes to that. So he's somebody that I'm collaborating with and dropping a video with next week. So there's just a lot of content coming out. I'm honestly not able to kind of keep up with it all, but I do want to put a solid base out there for my fans and the new fans that come in as well. So when they find me, they can say, oh shit, let me consume all this content. Let me see what he's got. Just like you're doing with your podcast. I'm sure 125 subscribers now, but when it gets to 125,000, there'll be all these great interviews to pull from.
Absolutely. So that's a perfect segue to talk about my podcast. So if you missed an episode of the Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar podcast, visit our channels on Apple Podcasts, Deezer, Google Podcasts, Podcast Addict, Spotify, and Spreaker. Just type in Jake's Take with Jacob Elyachar, JAKESTAKE, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Are you on social media? Because I'm on social media too. Visit my Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube channels. Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Once again, Jacob Elyachar, JACOBELYACHAR. Brendan, just to let you know, August 2022 marks my 11th anniversary at jakes-take.com.
Wow. Congratulations, man. That's beautiful.
Thank you so much. And guys, if you want to see the articles, read my interviews, check out my reviews of The Masked Singer and of America's Got Talent, it's jakes-take.com. Once again, jakes-take.com. Now, if you are financially able to, please consider heading to my PayPal channel to help keep jakes-take.com and my platform up and running. I'm the guy that does all the interviews, books all the guests, does the editing, and everything else. So,
wow.
So if you're financially able to, great. If you're not, I totally understand. But please consider following me on social media and downloading my podcast and subscribing to them as an alternative. Brendan, it's such a pleasure to meet you.
Wonderful to meet you too, Jacob. Thank you for your time.
You're so welcome, guys. And until next time, thank you so much for listening and have a great day.
Have a blessed day, brother. Thank you.
All right. Bye.